get started.
That's what it was. My brain was running out of space.
Got it.
Sorry, Coach. You were so late on that.
All right, so we Monday we started our new 12-week 5-3-1 strength cycle, and there's been some slight changes to our specialty programming, and I got a bunch of questions, and there was some confusion about how everything's supposed to work. And then there were other questions I was getting that I thought all of this stuff kind of ties in together, and I'm going to do a lecture about it and kill a lot of birds with one stone, I guess. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over how this next 12 weeks is going to work and how you can sort of maximize it for yourself. Then I'm going to talk about some problems that we tend to. Actually, I'm probably going to get on the women more today than the guys, but I'm going to get on both of you about different things. Ways you can screw this up over the next 12 weeks. And we're going to talk about some nutrition things at the end. And really what the point of this is not only get strong, but to improve your body composition over the next 12 weeks. Okay, so we're going to focus, although this is not a super well laid out lecture, so feel free if I start to rambling to just start way back. But you can ask whatever questions you want, okay? I may not know the answer, but you feel free to ask whatever you want. All right, so the last time we did one of these Windler cycles, we had fantastic results. If you were here for that, the numbers went out the roof for everybody. Everybody was PRing on everything. And we did it about this time last year. This is the off season for CrossFit in a sense. And a lot of people are working on street this time of year. It is very easy to get your conditioning back. You can get back to peak conditioning in about 6 weeks. It is very, very difficult to gain strength. It can take years to get to be relatively strong. And it is also difficult to maximize your strength increases while you're doing tons and tons of conditioning. Your body's fighting for the same resources, and it doesn't work as well. So there's going to be a huge focus on strength for this next 12 weeks. Now, we're still a CrossFit gym, so the CrossFit class is going to have CrossFit type stuff in it. We're still going to do our Metcons. But those Metcons will be a little different than Fran or Helen or some of the classic WODs. And you've seen that Monday or Tuesday. Monday is a huge focus on legs and posterior chain. If you were sore from Monday, it was probably all lower body. If you were sore or are sore from yesterday, it's probably upper body, okay? So we're really focusing in on muscle groups, trying to create some hypertrophy, make people's muscles grow. The specialty programming that we typically do, we have two main classes, Pitbull protocol and the Viking protocol, and they have two different goals. Okay, in the Pitbull, first of all, let me backtrack. The CrossFit class is about staying healthy and fit. If you want to be healthier than 99% of the population, do a CrossFit class and eat well. You'll be good to go. Okay? Pitbull and Viking kind of take it up a notch depending on your goals. If you want to compete at CrossFit successfully, the Viking protocol is written to focus on the things that get done a lot in CrossFit competitions. A lot of Olympic lifting, full versions of Olympic lifts that we don't do very often in the regular class, a lot of high skill gymnastics work, and other conditioning work. So it's very broad. It's doing a little bit of everything. You're trying to get stronger, trying to get fitter, trying to get more skills, that kind of thing. Pitbull protocol is a lot more focused usually. It's a powerlifting-based program, and if you don't know yet the difference between powerlifting and Olympic lifting, powerlifting is bench, deadlift, and squat. Olympic lifting is snatch, clean, jerk. Okay, two completely different sports. Pitbull focuses on the powerlifting side, deadlift, bench, and squat, with some athleticism type training thrown in there too, but not as much conditioning. This 12 weeks, Pitbull and Viking are going to look very similar. The format is going to be almost identical. But we're going to take some of the movements where in Pitbull we might do a second horizontal press in a day. Like yesterday we did wide grip push-ups for 4 sets of 5. The Viking, instead of doing that horizontal press, did push pressing. They did a vertical press. Because in a CrossFit competition, a vertical press is way more prevalent than a horizontal press. You have to be very strong overhead. Okay? So they're going to look very similar. But the focus in the Viking is to get brutally strong in the Olympic lifts. Focus in Pitbull is to get very strong in the power lifts. They're going to look very similar. Now, the pit bull has always been a regular class, and I hope it continues to be a coached class. Viking has always been something you just added to the regular classes and did it extra. So the problem with pit bull is that some people can't get off in time, or devote an hour and 45 minutes that time of the day. You just couldn't do it. So what I'm doing this time is in both of those programs, pit bull and Viking, I'm trying to set it up so that you can do either on your own. If you can only do the regular CrossFit class and then do extra work, you can make that extra work fit in with the pit bull protocol or the Viking. All right, so let's pull up. This was yesterday's work. This was the regular CrossFit class. So we did a pause bench press for 20 minutes, and this was our 5-3-1 day. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about how the 5-3-1 works, but this was the sets of 5. We were doing it at 80% of our 1 rep max. And then, after that was over, you went to one of these 2 goat sets, we call them. Whatever one you don't normally do, you were going to be doing that one. The difference here, if you're trying to just increase your strength in the Olympic lifts, which is Viking, instead of doing this, you're only going to do this with the regular class. Very first street quad. Everything else you will then look on the Facebook specialty page and do the rest of Viking. Okay? Meaning you'll skip the conditioning. Okay? So what's going to happen is your conditioning is going to get worse over the next 12 weeks. Guys probably on average don't care as much about that. Girls probably on average freak out more about that. Okay, and I'm going to talk about that at the end. So all you have to do is know where to find the different programs listed on Facebook. And you can do this in the regular class. So the regular class starts, you do the warm-up with the regular class, you do the first strength part with the regular class. Then when they move on then to the conditioning, you're going to continue with what's called the Joker sets in the Viking program. Let's pull Viking up from yesterday. All right, so part 1 is what the regular class did. Actually, that's the percentage wrong. But anyway, that's what the regular class did. And then, as soon as that was finished, how many of you were here yesterday? Okay, good. So you moved into that goat set. Everybody remember that? The second lift you did? If you're doing the full Viking program, instead of moving directly to that goat set, you're going to go to what's called these Joker sets. Okay, this is a term that Jim Wendler created in his book, Beyond 5-3-1, so that you can get more volume into this. The way this works is, you've got 80% on the bar here, that number's wrong, ignore it. Once you get done with that, then you would have 3 minutes to complete 1 rep at 85%. Then you'll have 3 minutes to complete 1 rep at 90%, 95, 97.5, 100, 102.5. Okay? Obviously, you're not going to hit 102.5 every day, or 6 months from now, you'll be the strongest human on earth. But the way these are set up, some days you're going to feel it, some days you're not. Some days you're going to be stronger than others. Like for instance, on my bench press, I'm so inconsistent on that. I could bench one day and I'd be 20 pounds less 3 days later. On those good days, though, I want to take advantage of it. Yesterday was one of my good days. I got over 100%. I set a PR yesterday on my bench press, first time in a while, so I was pumped about that. I would not have gotten to do that had I just done the main part of the Wendler up there, the first line. I kept running through this, I got all the way to 100% and made it, and then put a little more on the bar and made a PR. You will do that while the regular class is working on the rest of the class. Does that make sense so far? Okay. All right, then you're just going to keep running down the list here. This is a secondary lift. For Viking, it's push press. I just talked about that a little while ago. They were doing the push press as a secondary. This first part is exactly the same as the pit bull. Where it starts to differ is on pit bull yesterday, we did another set. We did 4 more sets of bench pressing around here with a wide grip. We did basically a goat set here. I bench narrow normally, so I was doing wide. But it's 4 sets of 5 because the bench is the key thing in pit bull. It's a powerlifting movement. Olympic lifting, if you're doing the Viking, you do push press here. Then you would go down here and do the accessory lifts. The problem is you may not always understand what I've written. Sometimes it's written in shorthand, and I know Laura does this all the time and still doesn't always know exactly what I mean by it. You're just going to have to ask, okay? But my point here is just to let you know that if you're going to try to do Viking, you're going to do the main strength work with the regular class and then just start moving down the list of the Viking work. You're skipping conditioning for the most part. Yes.
And this is only going to be for the 12 weeks, right?
Only for the 12 weeks, yes.
People that choose to go the Viking route are on their own, though, right?
Yes.
They're not. My concern with that is the chaos ensues if they're coming and asking you 100 questions and we're not able to do our normal.
Yeah. Here's the deal. If you decide to do specialty work, you play second fiddle to the regular class. The regular class is always our focus here because that's going to be 80% or more of the people here. So if you don't understand what this is, the person to ask isn't always going to be or necessarily going to be the coach running that regular class. You need to read this stuff ahead of time, ask questions on Facebook, text message somebody, find out. Because the coach in here is focused on getting the conditioning watch set up for the regular class. Does that make sense? You've got to be proactive. If you're the person that just can't do stuff in advance, you're not going to be that person that finds out ahead of time, just stick to the regular class. It's not for you. Okay? It's got to be something you dig into that won't really matter. All right. So any questions on that part, on the Viking? Pit bull functions the same way. Pit bull's we're always going to have the class back here. But if you want to add the pit bull stuff, you just skip the conditioning of the regular class and run right through the pit bull list and do it the same way the Viking gets done. Make sense? All right. There's another option too. If you want to do the regular class, because you still want to do the conditioning, that's fine. I'm putting an asterisk by each of the movements in pit bull that you would then pluck out of the pit bull and do extra on top of the regular class. It won't be the full pit bull because you're doing the CrossFit class and the conditioning part of the CrossFit class. There'll be a few things I would pull out of the pit bull for you to do, or a few things I'd pull out of Viking. Does that part make sense? When I post it on Facebook, there'll be little asterisks there. That's the thing that you do extra. All right, the big mistake you can make. Let's say you have a goal of I want to run fast, I want to lift big, and I want to jump high, and I'm just going to do all of it. I'm going to do the Viking, the pit bull, I'm going to do Mercury, I'm going to look up crap on the internet, do that too. I'm going to come in here on Thursday or Wednesday, make my own stuff up, and I'm going to do it all. Great, you're just going to screw everything up. You're not going to get stronger, you're not going to get fitter, you're probably going to get hurt, you're going to wonder why your results are plateauing. Unless you're Rich Froning, you can't handle that kind of volume. There's only a few genetic freaks in the world that can do that kind of stuff. It's probably not you. And what does doing a little bit of everything, what is that called? CrossFit. CrossFit, that's exactly right. Just do the regular class. Okay? What'd you say? What'd she say? It's bad. Okay. Huh?
It wasn't the right answer.
Okay. All right, so I don't want to see program hopping. You need to pick the goal and stick with the program that's designed to get you there, okay? All right. Let's talk about why strength is so important. This speech is probably not for the guys so much. There's some women that want to do the strength work. Maybe all of you do too. And there's some guys that probably don't want to do it, but want to do condition. But on average, guys like the strength work more than the women do. Women tend to think if I don't do the conditioning work, I'm going to gain weight. Because gaining weight is what's on the scale is the only thing that matters to 95% of the women in this gym. Am I wrong? All right, so, and the only way anybody loses weight is cardio, right? That's the prevalent thought that's out there. So women are afraid if they just lift weights. That's really what happens if you do it right. All right, so that's kind of pornographic. All right, so look at this picture. This is really cool. Same person, weighs 123 pounds, looks skinnier over here. She's 14 pounds heavier. You can see her body changing as she gets heavier. And I know she started fairly thin, and it's not necessarily representative of everybody.
She's probably 20.
What's,
And she's probably 20.
well, it doesn't matter. point is, what's more important than body weight? Body composition is what matters. It's your body fat composition. Your amount of lean tissue versus the amount of fat. It doesn't matter if you weigh 450 pounds if you look like $1 billion. The scale doesn't matter. And here's the problem. Women tend to look at nothing but the scale. And if it's not going down, I need to run more. I need to spin class more. I need to eat less. And all that stuff is going to shut your metabolism down. You're going to end up being skinny fat. Now, I had some pictures of some skinny fat people up here, but I took them down because they were all, I wasn't sure if they were non-pornographic.
If it set your radar off,
Yeah, it's
it
probably bad,
was.
Because what happens when you go into a caloric deficit and you start doing tons of cardio is, yeah, you're going to lose weight, you'll lose fat, but you're also going to lose muscle. And I don't care what gimmick you've seen out on commercials or what doctor is telling you otherwise. If you're at a caloric deficit and you're not doing resistance training and you're just out doing cardio, you will lose muscle. Okay? As soon as that happens, your metabolism slows down, and pretty soon you'll stop losing weight. And the only thing you can do is cut the calories even more. And then when that plateaus, you got to cut them more. And at some point, you give up. You go back to eating the way you were, and you get bigger than you used to be because now you have a ruined metabolism. Okay, so you can't cardio away body fat, not real well. Now, everybody probably knows some friends that just run and they look fantastic. I don't. You can have women that look good, they look skinny in clothes, but they'd probably tell you if they were naked, they weren't happy with the way they looked. Because some women just get that skinny fat look. That's not really what we're after. We want lean, muscular, and high metabolism disease. Okay? Strength training is the way to get that. You're gonna get your conditioning if you're doing the CrossFit class. But your body composition is really gonna be determined by what you do in the kitchen. Okay? It's mostly about what you eat. You can go do Zumba class and lose weight if you eat right. You don't have to do CrossFit. I think this is more fun and more effective, but you've got to eat correct. All right, so what I'm wanting is I don't want any of the ladies to be scared when we start talking about this is a 12-week strength focus cycle. If you're doing the regular class, you get all the conditioning any human in the world needs. Okay? Now there's a few more pictures of them. This one's really cool. She goes from 30.6% body fat here to 21.3% body fat, and she weighs the same in both pictures. She dropped 9% body fat and her weight didn't change. But she looks obviously way better here. So, if she was watching the scale and basing her progress off that, she'd be all disappointed because her weight wasn't going down. But anybody that's not crazy could look at her and tell her she's made phenomenal progress. I don't know why I think this would be fun. So here she is. She's in 1999 weighs 125 pounds. In 2012 she weighs 233. You can tell the difference in her body. I really just put this in there because I thought it was funny. 139, 148. So stop watching the scale. I'm not telling you the scale doesn't have any value. I'm just telling you that you've got to be careful letting the scale dictate everything. If your waist is shrinking, that's a good sign. Like Christopher Prince tells me he has not lost a pound since he's been here. If y'all look at the pictures when he first got here, I think he was drunk when he weighed himself when he first got here. He looks like a whole different person. But maybe he's one of those guys that, his body composition has changed. He's put on muscle, and his weight hasn't gone down. He looks 10 times better than he started. So ladies, don't be scared of the street training. I thought this was funny. Here is a world-class marathoner. There's a world-class sprinter. If you're doing a lot of just pure cardio, this is what your body is trying to get to. This is the only way you can be a world-class endurance athlete, long endurance athlete, is to carry minimal body weight. I mean, she looks like, she just escaped the concentration camp. She looked good. She looked like my wife. Here's a guy, same thing. This is like a really famous runner too. Sprinter, runner. lose weight and still look horrible. Oh yeah, I thought this was really cool. 130 pounds in both pictures. She looks half the size now. That's the only explanation for that is resistance training. If you do just cardio, you're going to lose. I'll beat that one. All right. Guys, so a lot of the guys that come up to us and man, I'm so excited about this Windler thing and getting strong and lifting weights and rah-rah and all of that. The biggest worry with you guys, me too, is we are absolute idiots in the gym and stuff like this, okay? We come in and we'd rather stroke our ego just to get fit. It's all about whether or not we can put more weight on the bar than the other guy, and it doesn't matter whether our rep looks like a soup sandwich, doesn't have the proper range of motion, or whether we look like we're about to break our back. It doesn't matter as long as we get the lift that we're trying to get. All that's going to do is end up putting you in the hospital or on the couch where you can't work out. It's not going to get you that much stronger because when we get out of position and we're lifting weights with our backs bent and our arms in funky positions, a lot of the weight's going onto your joints and ligaments, risking injury, not going in through the muscle like it's supposed to. You guys have got to be smart in this. Like, we've got 12 weeks of heavy lifting. Please do not make the mistake of thinking that every set has to be the heaviest possible set I think I could give. You don't get stronger by doing as much weight as possible every set. The world's best powerlifters do maximal effort days where they're lifting heavy weights, and then later in the week they do speed days. I've tried to program speed days in Pitbull where we're doing really lightweight, really fast, and I look around and nobody's following the percentages. It's supposed to be 60% or 70% of your 1 rep max, and everybody in the group has got 90% on the bar, because how can you get stronger doing 60 or 70% fast? The world's best to do that. Okay, so make sure you're doing the programming the way it's written, and you don't try to up the percentages or
Sorry.
you just have a dream.
It's bug in the back of my face.
Also, if a coach starts correcting you, because the guys are way worse about this than the girls. If you're not getting the depth on your squat, or you're not locking your arms out overhead, or the bench press isn't touching your chest, you're just giving away progress. Okay? It's better, you will get stronger if you squat 200 pounds to depth than if you squat 300 pounds above parallel. Do the movement right and listen to the coach, and don't be so pig-headed about this stuff. I see it all the time. Okay, we've got to swallow our pride. Women have no problem with this. I don't know why we're so dumb about it, but it's testosterone, I guess. All right. I talked about this a little bit already. If you want to get the most benefit or the most bang for your buck over the next 12 weeks, as important as what you do in here is what you eat. Okay, we're doing the same old thing, not eating well. You're just not going to get out of it what you want. Okay, you've got to clean the diet up. I'm the world's worst. I'm a hypocrite standing in front of you about it. Okay, the coolest new thing we've done in a long time, I think, is our new the Mason-Dixon Gourmet Fit Meals. You've got the extra income to afford it, and look, we don't make you money on it. I mean, we make $1 a meal. We're not making any money. We're making maybe $100 a week off that. What my hope is on that program is that you guys will take advantage of it. If you're not able to cook the meals at home, you can take advantage of this program and you become walking billboards for this gym. So you can eat that kind of food, everything you do in here is going to get better. You're going to lift more, you're going to perform better in your conditioning work, and it's fantastic marketing for us if we've got a gym full of people that look like supermodels. Okay? But you've got to make sure the nutrition gets dialed in. All this effort, the sweat, and stress that you go through in here is about half wasted if you're leaving here and running by Captain D's. So try to fix that. All right. That's right. Yeah, you can order one of those paleo meals, and it probably costs you less than one of those 3-piece fish platters at Captain D's. Not that bad. And if you hadn't had them, they're fantastic. You should try one just to see what they're like. Supplements. I've had some questions lately about do all this strength work. I had 2 people ask me, if I'm going to do all this strength work, what should I be taking for supplement? And that is an incredibly difficult question to answer, but I'm going to talk about several things that I believe are the most research-backed supplements out there. And if you've got other things you want to talk about or ask questions about, that's fine. But I'm not an expert on it. I was hoping TJ was going to be here today. But, I think everybody in the gym, regardless of your goals, needs to be on fish oil or krill oil or some sort of oil, except motor oil. But fish oil is probably the most scientifically backed supplement on the market. Okay, it's fantastic for heart health, joint health, everything. Cures cancer, I guess. I don't know, but get fish oil. Protein supplementation is another good one. Well, especially depending on, you can get enough protein in a regular diet. If you're trying to get super strong, it gets tougher, especially when you're eating really clean food. Then you're gonna have to eat like it's a part-time job. But if you're not getting maybe a gram of protein per pound of body weight, that's the general rule of thumb that's out there. If you're trying to get stronger and you're not getting that much in your diet, you may want to give a run at taking some protein supplements. Okay, it'll help. Creatine. As far as strength and muscular endurance, it is the single most research-proven supplement on the market, with almost no side effects, even if you try to overdose on it. It's almost impossible to overdose on it. Your body just urinates it away.
Don't you get headaches?
Do what?
Don't some people get headaches?
I don't know.
Oh, Josh Green.
Right. I'm not telling you everybody can take it with no side effects. I'm just telling you that it is an incredibly safe drug and effective. Outside, and I've seen this on a lot of these strength and conditioning sites on Facebook, I always see it referenced as the single most effective strength supplement on the market that's legal. Okay, so if you've got the money, again, I would recommend everything else outside of those 3. And if you have vitamin deficiency somewhere, like a lot of people are low in vitamin D, or those kind of things, you got to have blood work to really know that. Making sure your vitamins are where they should be is good too. Outside of that, it's all, it's great. There's a lot of supplements out there, and you guys need to be taking a ton of them that you just swear by, and that's great. Keep taking. I've been asked that question a few times lately, and I thought I wanted to address it. Anything anybody else want to ask about on supplements or questions? Okay, good. And one other thing, I say this in 101 every time, don't go spend a nickel on supplements if your diet's terrible. You just throwing perfume on a pig. It's not gonna do you any good. You gotta clean the diet. It's a supplement. It's not an instead of. Okay, you can't fix your McDonald's with 5 fish oil tablets. Okay? So make sure that diet is cleaned up. Alright, this is the last thing. Back to the women here. You won't get much out of this Wendler cycle if on that last set you don't try to work until you absolutely fail the rep. Okay, I'm not going to call any names out, but I very easily could. The mindset when you go into that bar for that last max rep set should not be, I'm gonna work till I feel a little tired. You need to be scared to death of what's coming. You need to work until your muscles nearly fail. Okay, it needs to be a battle that you're going to win every day. You cannot take this lightly and say, I'm really only here for the conditioning, and just do a few little reps. You've got to work hard on the strength stuff, okay? And again, guys, you got to be careful in the opposite direction. Don't put a weight on that bar you can't lift. But we all have our different problems, but the ladies tend to have this more so than the guys anyway, tend to go a little too easy on the weights. Okay? Don't be a wuss about it. All right. Don't pick and choose your workouts. Most important days to be here during this cycle is Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. If you have the tendency to look up on the workouts on Facebook and go, I don't like that movement, I don't like burpees, I don't like overhead squats or whatever, I'm not coming that day, just don't look on Facebook. You're just handicapping your progress. I almost hate for somebody to pay us money keep paying us money, but I almost hate for somebody to pay us money when they're doing that, because I know they're not getting out of this program what they could. Just close your eyes, come in and do the workout. Okay? Don't cherry pick. Last thing I wanted to say is, over the next 12 weeks, set some kind of goal. I don't care what it is, but make it a concrete goal. If your goal is some sort of body composition change, maybe weight loss, or some powerlifting total, a lot of us are going to go to this powerlifting meet. Find some goal, write it down somewhere, make it real, and conquer it. Okay? It is a tremendous, I mean, I know exactly what I'm trying to total by August the 8th, which should be the end of this cycle in my numbers. And I am motivated to get there. If I didn't know what I was trying to, if I didn't have a target, I probably wouldn't push near as hard. So everybody in here needs to, over the next couple of days, figure out what your goal is over the next 12 weeks. Okay? Yes?
Can you help us set a reasonable goal? Like, sometimes it's really hard to know what's really reasonable.
Yeah, you know, there's a cool feature in Wodify that you can submit questions to a coach. Of course, you can just come to one of us and ask too. Or you can send stuff on with me. Yes, absolutely. Anytime you want to sit down with me or any of the other coaches. Some of the women may be more comfortable with, you know, talking to one of the women coaches. I don't know, especially if it's body weight issues, I mean, whatever.
So can you establish baselines for us though? Like,
Say that again.
can you establish baselines? So what I'm saying is, can you do measurements of body fat and have a scale?
We can. In fact, we're fixing to start doing that. The boot camp that we're starting, we've got the calipers and everything ready to do that. I don't know how to use them yet, but Ellen, who's running that, her husband does. He's going to be doing that for them, and I'm sure we can set that up for everybody else. So yeah, you know, just get with me about setting that up. What else?
Now I'm looking at it, now I know it's necessary. But if you see a change, you gotta have some kind of measurement, right?
Yeah.
Like measure,
Well, you couldn't just say,
you
I
don't know
want
where to measure
you
those.
couldn't say, I want to squat 250, or I want to do whatever.
Scotty, I'm a woman. We got
He just got through telling you, quit worrying
I
about it.
know, but that's
But look, there's
you say
truth.
it be a goal too.
You know, if you'll, I'm not trying to tell you don't focus on aesthetics, because I do too. I glance in the mirror every once in a while when I walk down. But I will tell you this, if you spend your time obsessing over that, you're not going to see it change fast enough.
No,
You know,
it seems like you guys would want to know all about people who are going to do this kind of stuff, programs, that you'd want to know the baselines so that you can know progress.
Yeah.
And no matter
Well,
who it is.
yeah. Well, we actually have that in our 7th day. That's one of the things we tried to add to our 7th day of 101, but we are intending on adding. We just don't have the calendar.
So we have a baseline. If you do 3 every day, and 6 months from now, you need 3 minutes. We know you're doing it.
Well, I made it in the lunar information.
All right. Well, yeah. Let me talk about that a little bit. You could probably eat at McDonald's every day for the first 6 months of your CrossFit career and improve in the gym and everything, strength, conditioning, all that, because it's really just neuromuscular improvement. But eventually, if the diet isn't tuned in, all of those easy gains that you get at first are going to start to plateau. It always starts to get harder. And the only way to fix it is to fix what you're fueling yourself. So one way of looking at it is, instead of chasing a certain body weight or body composition, which I think is a fine goal, I'm not, but your back squat cannot keep going up forever if you don't eat well. Your Fran time will not keep going down and down and down. It'll go down at first, but eventually you can just be frustrated. Why am I stalling out? And every time somebody's asked me a question like that, I immediately respond with nutrition, and I immediately offend them. It's just offensive. People get furious at you when you tell them, well, you're not eating well. Yes, I am. You know, so it's like religion and politics. You can't question somebody's religion or their politics.
So is body weight is understandable. So is body weight is understandable. You can't carry a lot of body fat and you know, perform real well. That percentage you got to do that.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and I think though, if your focus is on improving your numbers, the aesthetic sort of happens as a byproduct of that. You know, that stuff's not going to keep getting better unless you improve right, what else?
I
Yes.
have two questions. Okay, you said that you were going to put asterisks like by the pit bull starts to add to it. When would you do that? Would you do that after you do the full like regular CrossFit workout?
Yes. Oh, okay, I know what you're asking.
Like
So you're saying if you do the regular CrossFit class, when would you do that other stuff? Yes. Like let's say you, don't you usually come at 8:15? You're all over the place, aren't you? Once you've done the regular class, the rest of the day is open gym for you. Okay? So if you come in and do the, if you do the 5:15 p.m. regular class, you've got to do it at 6:15. You know, if you do it at 8:15 and want to come back in the afternoon, if you've got that kind of schedule, you know, you can do it that way.
That's what Tracy Sparks does.
Yeah, she comes at 5:30 a lot and then comes back in the evenings and works on the other stuff.
okay, second question. Like if I can come to the pit bull class at 4:30 twice a week, is that going to benefit if I do
Yes.
that 2 times a week and then do the CrossFit class the rest of the
Yeah,
time?
that's perfectly fine. Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
wouldn't need to do all the asterisks every day.
If you're trying to follow, if your goal is to increase your deadlift, bench, and squat, and you're going to come to Pit Bull twice a week and do some extra work on the other days, is that what you're saying you want to do?
Yeah.
Then yeah, do the Pit Bull extra work, the asterisks, the rest of the week. Now you could do, look, I mean, you'd be perfectly fine coming in let's say you did Monday's workout where we had the back squats and the front squats and power cleans and conditioning walk, and then you wanted to jump at Pit Bull Tuesday and Thursday and do no extra work on Monday, that's fine too. Yeah, I mean, that's not gonna hurt you or anything. You might get a little bit better results if you'll do the full Pit Bull program. But is that answer? Okay.
Something was going on when she said, people though, you're not ever going to really be doing something where it's like we did the asterisks on Monday and then did people on Thursday, we wouldn't be doing the same thing.
No.
We're working the same thing.
All three programs are basically following the same template with minor tweaks depending on what the goals are. CrossFit classes goals are a little bit different in that we're still trying to stay generally physically prepared. Okay, we're trying to do our general, we're doing our metcons, that kind of thing. But the same muscle groups, if we want to call it that, are going to be worked on Monday in all three classes. So if you do regular CrossFit class Monday, you will not do the same movements Tuesday. And you can see that, you know, if I pulled Pit Bull up in the regular class yesterday, it's like Pit Bull is just regular class on steroids. It's the same stuff, just done more sets, more reps. What else? All right. There's no more questions. We're done. And I thank y'all for coming in.